Well, hello there, my horror family. Happy holidays from AJ Horror Reviewer. Um, I'm here to bring you a couple new Christmas horror movies. So let's have a little fun with this one. And I'm gonna do Black Christmas 1974, and then in addition to that, I'm gonna do Black Christmas 2006. So let me just get through my usual stuff. I'm gonna kind of just breeze through this a little quicker. Let's do Black Christmas in 1974. This one's rated R. Got a 73% on Rotten Tomato. The audience gave it a 76%. It's an hour 38. Directed by Bob Clark, who also did a Christmas Story. This was written by Roy Moore, but I don't think Roy Moore had written any other films. The cast here, we got Olivia Hussey, who I guess was in the It miniseries in 1990 or 1991. We also got Margot Kidder, who was in Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. There's a lot more other actors, but I'm just kind of breeze through them. We got Andrea Martin, who's actually in the newest, or not the newest, but the 2006 Black Christmas as the mother of the house there. And let's breeze through Black Christmas 2006. That one's rated R. It's about an hour 30. Got a 14% on Rotten Tomato. That one is written and directed by Glenn Morgan, who did Final Destination, Final Destination 3, and Willard. So it's got a pretty good track record. We got Katie Cassidy, who was in the TV show Arrow. She was Black Siren, and she was also in. Oh man, I am losing what the other film she was in, but she was in one other horror flick. Then we've also got Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who was in 10 Cloverfield Lane. The rest of the cast is people that I wasn't too familiar with. I didn't want to just go through everyone because it's a pretty large cast. I mean, we also got Andrea Martin, who was in the original, which is cool. I like that they brought someone back from the OG. Anyways, let me just kind of jump in. I'm going to start with the 1974 film. Sorry, I've had a little caffeine. So basically, this one is kind of like one of the slasher films that kind of put the slashers on the map, really. That and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, that I believe came out briefly before this. But basically, this one starts out in a sorority house with a bunch of ladies that live there and are kind of, getting in the Christmas spirit. They're the mother of the house is kind of an alcoholic. She just has like bottles of I think it's sherry in like books, and one's in the back of the toilet. She pulls it out. It's like, oh. So that's kind of an endearing character, I guess. Then you've got the classic drunk, which I think is Margot Kidder, that she makes some foolish decisions, and some funny decisions as well. But basically, most people know what this one's about. It's basically sorority house that gets a phone call from this wacko that's just like, ugh, like he said some pretty raunchy stuff, some pretty grotesque things, and the sorority sisters are getting a little worried, and eventually they start disappearing. They give you a hint to who the killer might be, which kind of throws you off a little bit. The first time I saw it, I was like, oh, it's him. it's the boyfriend of someone. I'm not gonna say just in case you haven't seen it, but I think you've had enough years to have seen this, so I might spoil a few things here. But I think the one of the coolest things about this one is you don't really see the killer at all in it, which is it keeps it mysterious in a way. Um, so yeah, there's not a whole lot I can delve into this. It's pretty straightforward. The serial killer, or just killer, is in the attic, and they don't know that until like the very end. The cops call and are like, the call's coming from inside the house. And yeah, that would be terrifying, I think. But yeah, so I mean, this is just a classic. Like I watch this every single year, maybe 2 or 3 times. But yeah, that I highly recommend if you have not seen this. This is a classic Christmas horror movie. Now let's jump into the 2006 Black Christmas. I know a lot of people were a little skeptical of this. They're like, why? They didn't need to do a remake. The classic was good on its own. You're ruining whatever, blah, 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 blah. But, you know, I have some fond memories of this one. I'll dive into that before I start talking about the flick. So I went to this one in the theaters in 2006 on Christmas Day with one of my best friends. I don't know. It was just a magical time to see that. Like I hadn't really seen any Christmas horror films in the theaters, and it was, I don't know, it was just a lot of fun. And yeah, that's just a little context of why this one I just absolutely love. Probably one of my favorites. But this one kind of, I want to say they just kind of go their own direction with it. They put a little more story into the killer, Billy, and they add another killer to it as well. But this one has a lot more in-depth story to it. It's basically somewhat the same style of film. It's in a sorority house. Sorority sisters are all hanging out for Christmas, and they get a phone call from this wacko. Not quite as intimidating phone call as the first one, and they don't use the phone calls as much as I think, or as effectively as the original. The original, like, it's like almost like one of the biggest parts of the movie. And in this one, it's more of the kills. I think the kills in this one are awesome. Let's see. Let me just go with this here. So yeah, they get the calls like in the first one, and they can't find one of the sorority sisters, and the sorority sister that's missing, her sister comes to the house and to get her, and nobody knows where she is, and so things start to pick up. Oh, and I'll say the killer. I mean, they take a part of the kill from the original. They throw the plastic bag over someone's head and then stab it in the face. So it's kind of cool that they there's a little continuity to it. There's a unicorn statue, or glass unicorn, that is also in the original. So that's cool. I like that, the continuity there. Anyway, so the kills are probably the best part of this movie. I think that some of the dialogue is a little witty, which is cool. But you got the killers coming that escape prison or insane asylum, whatever kind of facility they have Billy in, and he comes back home where he lived in the sorority house. That's why. That's what the difference. I think they gave him a little more backstory, and they really kind of showed like how Billy became what he became. And they gave his character like yellow skin. He had like a skin deformity. Um, and I think that's maybe what people were a little upset about with this one is like, oh, why did they have to add all this stuff? You lose the mystery of Billy and the killer. You don't know. A lot of people prefer to not know who is stalking and killing these women. But yeah, I kind of like a little story with it. But there's definitely some sweet kills in this one. Basically, it's kind of turns into a survival horror, and they're trying to get out. There's a snowstorm outside, and we'll say a couple of them get out and make it to the hospital. When they thought they've killed Billy and his sister, who's also his daughter. Oh yeah, that's part of the backstory, but I don't need to really go into too many details with that. But yeah, I can't go into too much more of it without spoiling it. But I will say this is a fun one. If you like gore and kills, stuff like that, creative kills, you'll probably enjoy it. It's not one of those ones you're gonna take super seriously, and I mean, like many of the Christmas horror films, they're kind of fun. They're just fun. They're cheesy. They're gore filled usually, but I highly recommend this one. It's a really good flick that I feel like has held up. But I mean, maybe you don't agree, but you know what? It's just my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. And I think that's all I've got to say here. I've tackled 2 movies, and I'm gonna do some more here in the very near future. So stay tuned. This is AJ Horror Reviewer signing off.